Welcome back to The Wrap. America may be divided on the legality of gay marriage, but what about a gay president? A new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll finds that more Americans feel comfortable with a presidential candidate who identifies as gay or lesbian than the one who identifies as an evangelical Christian. Respondents were given a list of qualities for potential presidential candidates and were asked to say if they would be enthusiastic, comfortable, on the fence, or very uncomfortable if a candidate had a particular quality from the list. Here's what we saw. 61% of respondents say they would be either enthusiastic about or comfortable with a gay or lesbian candidate, up about 18% since the survey was given back in 2006. Only 37% say they would have reservations or be very uncomfortable. That number down 16% from 2006. And in a surprising flip-flop since 2006, only 52% of respondents say they would be enthusiastic about or comfortable with an evangelical president, while 44% of respondents expressed some degree of hesitancy about the idea. Outspoken evangelicals, like former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, have been banning same-sex marriages one of their top priorities. During his candidacy announcement this week, Huckabee made it clear who he thinks has the final say on same-sex marriage, saying, quote, "The Supreme Court is not the supreme being, and they can't overturn the laws of nature or of nature's God." Just last month at a Family Research Council event, the governor told a room of pastors that Christian values are under attack and that we are, quote, "rapidly moving towards the criminalization of Christianity," something that obviously, Brad, you're shaking your head in agreement with violently. And in an interview with the American Family Association back in 2014, Huckabee said he would consider leaving the Republican Party if it wouldn't fight gay marriage. Obviously, his biggest shot at becoming the GOP nominee next year is with his evangelical base. But given this new information on what Americans are looking for in their next president, would it be wise for Huckabee and other outspoken evangelicals to maybe back off the gay marriage issue? Noah Rothman.
Mike Huckabee has a unique talent for picking adversaries that are just wildly popular at the moment.
Like
his other crusade was one of the most popular artists right now working in the United States. He has a tendency to make himself out to be a victim, right? He's oppressed by just the environment around him. I think that just to take a stab at the results of this poll is it really is just the lesser of two evils that Americans are choosing from. Somebody is going to impinge on your viewpoints, and either it's going to be same-sex marriage is going to be accepted and you're going to accept it, or a whole raft of other religious and moral convictions are going to be imposed on you. And if you have to choose one or a variety of them, you would go with the one. That's just my guess as to why these results are as they are.
Brad.
Well, what's troubling, if that's true, and I think actually they're more stable, we're really seeing, if we look at the polls carefully, is that there's greater acceptance of a gay president, and there's actually greater acceptance, a little bit tick up, on the evangelicals over the course of time. I think the sad part is that there would be any resistance to evangelicals is largely fueled by the fact that what most non-evangelicals know about evangelical Christians is what they're against, not what they're for. And that's really a disservice to a rich, beautiful religious tradition. Obviously, I'm not one, and there are things I don't agree with, including a policy fighting against gay marriage as a civil issue. That said, I would think as a member of any religious community, you would want to be defined by what you stand for, not what you stand against. That's where I think they're making a mistake.
John.
I agree with you. I'm Christian. I have always said that you should give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and you should give to God what belongs to God. And we have certain inalienable rights in this country, and if we give one person the opportunity to be married, then we should give everybody that opportunity. But if a church, again, has a religious belief, they should not be made to marry other people. What kills me, again, about these polls is this was 1,000 people out of a country that has 350 million people in it. It was done by NBC and the Wall Street Journal. NBC is notoriously a huge supporter of the gay community. So I wonder where this poll was taken at, and that's going to say a lot about this whole thing. But why aren't they asking questions like, would you look for a president that has a clear vision, that has a war plan to fight an enemy, or somebody who knows how to task organize experts? None of those things were, asked in this. That's the reality. And we were talking earlier, I'm looking for somebody who really doesn't want to be president. That's, I think, the number one thing.
Explain that.
Because if somebody wants to be president, most likely they're a politician and they're the most incompetent person that you're going to have. It's the people that they don't want that limelight. They don't necessarily want to be up there and be one of these worshipped people. They are just somebody who's either angry or somebody who's very experienced, and we need them there.
Don't we
That's
have
what I'm
that
looking
now,
for.
though, Jonathan? A guy who doesn't like being in the limelight, and a guy who had a lot of experience.
Refuses to use selfie sticks, and that's who we have there.
That's the prerequisites right now. Well, then you must be a fan, and we're almost out of time, of a Ben Carson or a Carly Fiorina, because they're not politicians.
I am, but they want the limelight, and I have my reservations on whether or not they're action-oriented leaders.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see a guy who says, I really don't want to be president. I don't want the limelight. I just want to get things done.
Right.
I'm not even going to campaign.
Washington.
Vote for me. Right, Washington. There you go. Good point. Coming up next, it's potluck time. Brad and I go Daily Wrap. Coming right back.